My mom booked a $14,000 family vacation on my card without asking. "We knew you'd treat us," she texted from the airport. I replied, "Have fun." Then called the bank. She called me at midnight from Cancun. The hotel needed a new payment. I said, "Try Dad's card." Dad had $140 on it. I realized something was wrong the second my mom held up her phone at my niece's birthday dinner and said, loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear, "Smile, kids. Post this. The whole family's going to Cancun." My son Owen froze with his fork halfway to his mouth. He looked at me like he didn't know if he was supposed to smile too. Because we weren't going to Cancun. Not that I knew of. My mom turned the phone toward me, still grinning, and said, "Don't do that face. It's already booked." Then my sister laughed and added, "Bree, you always make it happen." Everyone else kept eating like that was a normal sentence. My hand started shaking under the table, but I didn't blow up. Not there. Not in front of Owen. He hates scenes. He gets quiet and tries to disappear. I swallowed, forced my voice to stay calm, and said, "Booked with what?" My mom blinked like the question confused her. "With your card, obviously." And then she said the part that made my stomach drop. "You're the only one with a decent limit. It's fine." Owen's cheeks went pink. He stared hard at his plate. I felt that tight throat feeling I always got around them. Like I was 12 again, being told I was too sensitive for noticing the obvious. I smiled a fake little smile, nodded once, and said, "Oh." Then I looked down at Owen and said, "Hey, bud, want dessert to go?" He whispered, "Can we just go home?" "Yep," I said, and I stood up. My mom called after me, annoyed, "Don't start acting weird." I didn't answer. I just grabbed our coats, paid our part of the bill, and walked out with my kid. In the car, Owen didn't talk. He pressed his forehead to the window like he was trying to make himself smaller. I should have known. I really should have. Because this didn't start at that restaurant. It started years ago with little favors that weren't favors at all. I'm Brianna. I was 34 at the time. I lived outside Tampa, Florida, and I worked as the front desk administrator at a busy beauty salon. Not glamorous, just steady. I booked appointments, managed product inventory, kept the stylists from killing each other during holiday rush, and made sure nobody walked out without paying. I was good at it. I was organized. I was calm. I handled chaos for a living. At home, it was just me and Owen. He was 8. Quiet kid. Big eyes. The kind of child who says thank you even when someone hands him the wrong thing. His dad was not in the picture. He paid what he paid when he felt like it. I didn't build my life expecting anything from him. But my family? They expected everything from me. I was the responsible one, the capable one, the one they called when Dad's truck needed tires, the one they guilted when Mom's washer suddenly died, the one who could just put it on your card and we'll pay you back. They rarely paid me back. And here's the part that always stung. Even while they treated me like a walking emergency fund, they treated Owen like an extra. Not rude to his face, not usually, just erased. He'd get the last seat, the smallest slice, the "oops, we didn't know you were coming" plate. My sister's kids got matching pajamas for Christmas. Owen got a generic gift card in an envelope with his name spelled wrong. I kept telling myself they'd grow into it, that they just needed time, that if I stayed helpful, stayed pleasant, stayed generous, they'd stop making my son feel like an afterthought. I was wrong. And the Cancun thing wasn't even the first time my mom tried to spend my money like it was hers. It was just the biggest swing she'd ever taken. That night after the restaurant, I put Owen to bed, made him hot chocolate, and told him, "You didn't do anything wrong." He nodded like he didn't fully believe me. After he fell asleep, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop and opened my credit card app. And there it was. A pending charge. $14,000 and change. Airline plus resort package. My vision actually blurred for a second. I clicked into the details and my mouth went dry. 2 rooms. 7 nights. Cancun. Airport transfers. Some VIP add-on. My mom had not booked a simple vacation. She had booked a lifestyle. And she had booked it on my card. I didn't even know how she got the number until I remembered something that made me feel sick. 2 months earlier, she'd offered to help me order Owen new school shoes online because she had a coupon. I'd read the number out loud while I was cooking dinner, half distracted because she was my mom and I wasn't thinking like someone who needed to guard her financial information. I was thinking like a daughter. That was my mistake. My phone buzzed while I was staring at the charge, a text from my mom. A selfie of her and my sister at the airport, big sunglasses, peace signs, big happy smiles. Under it, she wrote, "We knew you'd treat us." I stared at that message so long my screen dimmed. Treat. Like I was some sponsor and this was a gift. Like she hadn't just taken money out of my future and called it love. I typed back 2 words. Have fun. Then I opened my bank app and transferred the exact amount I had saved for emergencies into my checking account, so it wasn't sitting anywhere she could touch. Then I called my credit card company. The woman on the phone was calm, professional, and honestly a little too used to the story. "Do you recognize the charge?" "I recognize it," I said. "I didn't authorize it." "Was your card lost?" "No, my mother used the number." There was a pause. "Okay, we can help you with that." My hands were still shaking, but my voice stayed steady. I told her the truth, that I was a single parent, that the card was in my possession, that I hadn't made the booking, that I needed it stopped. She asked if I wanted to freeze the card immediately. Yes. She asked if I wanted to dispute and file a fraud claim. Yes. She explained that because it was a card not present transaction, there were protections, but it would be investigated. "Do it," I said. Then she said the line that made everything real. "Your card will no longer be available for this merchant to charge. If the hotel or airline attempts to process payment, it will decline." I stared at my kitchen wall, heart pounding. "Okay," I said. "Thank you." When I hung up, I felt something I hadn't expected. Relief. Not joy, not triumph. Just relief. Like I had finally stopped trying to swim while someone held onto my ankle. The next morning, my mom called me while I was at work, checking in clients and pretending my life wasn't on fire. I stepped into the supply closet and answered. She didn't say hello. She said, "Why is my card not working?" I actually laughed once, but it came out sharp. "Because it's my card." She huffed like I was being dramatic. "Don't do this. We're literally at the gate. You should have asked me." "We didn't want you to stress," she said, like she was doing me a favor. Then, in the same breath, she added, "And you always say no if we ask." There it was, the whole truth, wrapped in a complaint. I leaned my head against the shelf and kept my voice calm. I said no because I can't afford $14,000. "You can," she snapped. "You just don't want to." I pictured Owen's face at the restaurant, turning red while grown adults joked about my money like it was a family prize. I said, "I froze the card. It's done." She went silent, then her voice changed. Soft. Sweet. Dangerous. "Bree, don't ruin this for everyone." "I didn't book it," I said. "You did? You're really going to do this over money?" she asked. I didn't yell. I just said, "Yes." Then I ended the call. I went back out front, smiled at the next client, and handed her a clipboard like my world wasn't shaking. But inside, something had shifted, because this wasn't just about Cancun. This was about what my mom had been doing to me for years. Taking. Expecting. Deciding for me. And the worst part? Doing it while my son watched. For the first day, it was mostly texts. My sister, "Are you serious? The kids are excited." My mom, "You're embarrassing me." My dad, "Call your mother." That one made me laugh too, because my dad had been, "Call your mother" my whole life. He never handled problems. He just redirected them to me. By the second day, they were there. They had made it to Cancun, because the booking had gone through initially and they had already gotten on the plane. I guess they thought once they arrived, I'd cave, like I'd be too scared to strand them. That's how my mom's brain worked. If she pushed far enough, the other person would panic and pay to fix the mess. I didn't. That night, I put Owen to bed, read him a chapter of his book, and kissed his forehead. Then I sat on my couch with my phone on the coffee table, face down. I knew it was coming. At 12:07 a.m., it came. My phone lit up with her name. I let it ring twice, then answered. Her voice was tight and angry. "The hotel says the payment didn't go through." I said nothing. She kept going louder. "They're saying we need a new card." Right now, I could hear noise behind her. Lobby sounds. People talking. A rolling suitcase. My mom said, "Are you enjoying this? Are you really doing this to your own family?" I looked at my dark living room. Owen's nightlight glowing faintly down the hallway. And I said calmly, "Try Dad's card." She scoffed like I made a joke. Then there was a pause, and her voice shifted again. "Your father only has one card." "Try it," I repeated. I could hear her fumbling, muttering to someone in Spanish. Then my dad's voice in the background, confused and tired. Then my mom came back to the phone, whispering like she didn't want the front desk to hear. It declined. I said, "Okay," she hissed. "It declined because there's something wrong. Fix it." "No," I said. It declined because Dad has $140. There was a long silence, the kind where reality finally lands. Then my mom started crying, not because she was sorry, but because she was stuck. "Bree," she said, voice trembling. "We're here. The kids are tired. We can't sleep in the airport." I didn't say what I wanted to say. I didn't say, "You didn't care when my kid was humiliated at dinner." I didn't say, "You didn't care when I skipped groceries to cover your emergency." I just said the truth, slow and clear. "I'm not paying for a vacation you stole." She snapped. Instantly, tears gone. "You're heartless." Then she said the line that finished it for me. "You're doing this because you want to punish me." I stared at my ceiling. "No," I said. "I'm doing this because you punished me for years, and I let you." Then I ended the call. I sat there for a minute with my phone in my hand. My heart was racing, but I also felt steady, like my spine finally showed up. The next morning, I got the story from my cousin, because my cousin Jenna was the kind of person who didn't worship my mom. Jenna texted me, "They're losing it. Front desk made them put down a deposit or leave. Mom's yelling. Dad looks sick. Sister's kids are crying." Then she added, "Also, Mom told everyone you promised." Like she had screenshots. She doesn't. Of course she didn't. My mom lived in a world where if she said something confidently enough, it became fact. I texted Jenna back, "Thank you. I'm not paying." Jenna replied, "Good." That one word almost made me cry. Because nobody in my family ever said good when I protected myself. They only said good when I sacrificed. That afternoon, my salon manager pulled me aside. "Are you okay?" she asked quietly. I surprised myself by telling her the truth. Not all of it, but enough. My mom used my credit card to book a trip without asking. Her eyebrows shot up. "That's fraud." I nodded. She said, "Do you want to go sit in the back for a minute?" And that's when I realized something simple but huge. A woman I worked with, who wasn't family, had more concern for me than my own mother did. I went into the break room, sat down, and stared at my hands. Then I opened my banking app again. Because the boundary I needed wasn't just about one charge. It was about the whole pipeline of access. So I made one clean decision. One move. I opened the account where my paycheck landed. I changed every password, every security question. I turned on two-factor authentication. Then I called my bank and removed my mom as an emergency contact, something she had talked me into years ago, just in case. I also removed her from the small savings account I had opened when I was younger that still had her name attached, because she helped me start it. She hadn't helped me start anything. She had helped herself stay close enough to grab. The banker walked me through it step by step. "Are you sure you want to remove the joint holder?" "Yes." "Are you aware this will close the account and require you to open a new one in your name only?" "Yes." "Okay, I'm submitting that now." I watched the confirmation screen pop up. Account closed, new account opened. My money was mine, not family money, not backup plan money. Mine. I didn't post about it. I didn't announce it. I just did it. And then I went back to work and checked in the next client. The fallout came fast. My mom called 30 times, my sister sent paragraphs, my dad left voicemails that started with heavy sighs and ended with guilt. "Your mother is crying, your sister's kids don't understand, you're tearing the family apart." No one asked, "Why did you do this?" Because they already knew. They just didn't like the answer. At midnight, my mom texted, "We had to take a shuttle to a cheaper hotel. You humiliated us." I stared at the message and felt something cold settle in my chest. She was still making herself the victim. Not one "I'm sorry," not one "I shouldn't have used your card." Just blame. So I sent one message back, "Do not use my name on any booking again. Do not use my money without permission. I will not fund a family that treats my son like an extra." Then I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. When they got back home, they tried the talk visit, the classic. 2 days after their return, I came home from work and found my parents' car in my driveway. My stomach dropped. Owen was in the back seat, quiet, holding his backpack straps. "Do we have to go in?" he asked. "No," I said immediately. "You don't." I parked on the street instead, unbuckled him, and walked him straight to my neighbor's house. My neighbor, Miss Darlene, was older, kind, and always had cookies like she ran a secret bakery. I knocked, and when she opened the door, I said, "Can Owen hang out for a bit?" She didn't ask questions. She just looked at my face and nodded. "Of course, baby. Come on in, Owen." Owen stepped inside like he was relieved to be somewhere safe. Then I walked back to my house alone. My mom opened my front door like she owned it. "Finally," she said. I didn't step inside. I stood on my porch and said, "Why are you here?" My dad looked tired, like he hadn't slept in a week. My mom went straight into her script. "We need to put this behind us." I said, "You committed fraud." Her face twisted. "Oh my God. Don't be dramatic." My sister stepped out from behind them like she'd been waiting for her turn. "Mom said you froze the card at the hotel," she said, like I was some villain in a movie. I didn't raise my voice. I said, "I froze it the night I saw the charge." My mom's eyes narrowed. "You let us get on the plane." "You booked it," I said, without asking. My sister threw her hands up. "You're punishing the kids." That was always their favorite shield. The kids. The kids they claimed to protect while ignoring mine. So I said the sentence that had been building in me for years. "I'm not your backup bank." My mom scoffed. "After everything we've done for you?" I almost laughed. Because what had they done? They hadn't babysat Owen. They hadn't helped with rent. They hadn't shown up when I was sick. They had taken and taken. I kept my voice calm. "You will not have access to my accounts. You will not use my card numbers. If you need a vacation, you can pay for it." My mom leaned forward, eyes shiny with anger. "You're really choosing money over family." I looked at her and said, "I'm choosing my son over being used." My dad opened his mouth like he wanted to calm it down, like always. "Bree." I held up my hand. "No, I'm done explaining." Then I did something I'd never done before. I opened my front door, walked inside, and locked it, with them on the porch. I stood there for a second, listening to my mom's muffled voice rising, then fading as my dad tugged her away. I didn't feel victorious. I felt tired, but it was the good kind of tired. The kind you feel after carrying something heavy and finally setting it down. A week later, Owen came home from school with a drawing. It was just a simple crayon picture of our house with the sun in the corner and two stick figures holding hands. Me and him? He wrote, in careful letters, "Home." I taped it to the fridge like it was a diploma. That weekend, we did our own vacation. Not Cancun. Nothing fancy. Just a day trip to the beach with a cheap cooler, ham sandwiches, and a little kite Owen picked out himself. He laughed when the kite crashed into the sand, then tried again without getting embarrassed. At one point he said, quietly, "I like when it's just us." I swallowed that throat-tight feeling again, but this time it wasn't from shame. It was from relief. I said, "Me too." Later, when the sun started to go down, I wrapped him in a towel and watched him chase the waves. My phone buzzed in my bag. I didn't check it right away, because for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I had to. When I finally looked, it was a text from my mom. Just one sentence. "So I guess we're dead to you now?" I stared at it, then set my phone back down. I didn't respond. Because my boundary wasn't a debate. It was a door. And I had finally closed it. That night, back home, Owen and I ate microwave popcorn on the couch and watched a silly movie. He fell asleep with his head on my shoulder. I looked at the quiet living room, the taped drawing on the fridge, the little pile of beach towels by the door. And I realized something simple. My mom got her Cancun story. But I got my son's peace, and I'd take that trade every single time.